Bienvenidos a la lección 3. Welcome to lesson 3. Let's review los pronombres that we talked about last class. You need to have who goes where in this chart memorized as soon as possible if you don't already. Top left is I or yo. You is tú. He, she, you formal is él, ella, usted. Top right, we is nosotros. Y'all is vosotros, and remember that's used exclusively in Spain. I won't be quizzing you over the vosotros or asking you to produce it, but I'm just going to let you know what it is, just in case you want to know. They, them, you guys formal is ellos, ellas, ustedes. Then remember that the left side of this chart is singular, and the right side of this chart is plural. Alright, now that we know who goes where, let's put it to practice a little bit. If you saw this sentence, we are friends, which person in the chart would you use in Spanish? The nosotros, because it's on the plural side, and nosotros means we. The subject of this next sentence is you. You are nice, so which one would you use in Spanish? Tú. It's singular, and it means you. They are rude. Which one now? You would use the box for ellos or ellas. I am happy. Yo. Yo means I. Juanita is early. Juanita is one person's name, so it needs to go on the singular side, and we'll use ella usted because ella means she. Carlos and Miguel don't like tacos. Now we have two names, so we need to be on the plural side, and we're going to use ellos because we have a couple of guys here. My friends and I went to the movies. My friends and I is multiple people, and I'm included, so that's going to be we or nosotros. My pen is out of ink. One object is on the singular side, and it's not I, it's not you, it's an it. That's why it goes in the ella usted. The desks are out of order. Multiple desks means that it's they, and that would fall in the ellos or ellas category. Would you like a paper? Since we're talking to one person formally, we're going to use the usted on the singular side. Y'all left too early. Now for this one, there's really two right answers. It just kind of depends on where you are. So if you're in Spain, they would use the vosotros, but everyone else is just going to use ustedes. Now just as a reminder, if any of these are a subject to your sentence, then you know which square to use. I would be yo, you would be tú. If you see one name or one object, that's ella usted. It has to say somebody else and I for it to be nosotros. And lastly, if it's two or more names or two or more objects, then it would be in the ellos, ellas, ustedes category. So now that we remember who goes where in this chart, the next step would be look at some of the conjugation endings. Because in Spanish, who is doing the action is built into the word. The ending of a verb will tell you if it's I, he, she, you, or whoever it is that's doing the action. So when you see a word in its original form or its infinitive form, that means that the verb ends in AR, ER, or IR. Most of the time when you use that verb, you need to do what we call conjugating. Conjugating is just kind of a simple formula that we use to remember all of the endings and get the correct answer. So when you see this chart, you should not only remember who goes where in the chart, but you should also remember the endings based on whether you're looking at an AR verb, an ER verb, or an IR verb. So first up, let's look at the verb cantar. Cantar is what I call an AR verb because it ends in AR. Pretty simple enough. Beber is an ER verb because it ends in ER. Vivir is an IR verb because, you guessed it, it ends in IR. So these verbs in their original forms do not say that anybody is doing the action. They just mean to sing, to drink, or to live. But what if I want to say, I sing a song, I drink Dr. Pepper, or I live a crazy life. At that point, you can't use the infinitive because you don't want to say, I too sing a song. That doesn't make any sense. So that's when we take off the endings AR, ER, or IR, and we add a new one. The new ending will tell us whether it's I, you, he, she, and so on and so forth. So let's look at the chart for AR verbs. If you want the yo form of an AR verb, or the I form, you're talking about yourself, then the ending is going to just simply be an O. If you're talking about to or you, then an AR verb's ending is going to be as. If it's he, she, you formal, LA usted, then the ending is just going to be an a. If you're talking about nosotros or we, that would be amos. If you're in Spain and you're talking to multiple people, you would use the vosotros, and that would be ais. Again, the vosotros form is not something that I expect you to remember, but I'm just going to show it to you anyways, just in case you want to know it. Ellos, ellas, ustedes, they, them, or you guys formal, would be an. Repite, o. As. A. Amos. Ais. An. Now, to me, my brain works better if I say it in a catchy way or say it really fast. So excluding the vosotros form, I would say, o, as, a, amos, an. Repite, o, as, a, amos, an. And then it gets pretty catchy. O, as, a, amos, an. O, as, a, amos, an. And then that way you just remember all of the endings really quickly. So if we want to put those endings to use, we just take an AR verb like cantar, we take off the AR so we would get C-A-N-T, and then we add our new endings. So first, the yo form would be canto, and that means I sing. The to form is cantas, or you sing. LA usted would be canta, he, she, or you formal sings. Nosotros is cantamos, we sing. Vosotros is cantáis, y'all sing, Spain version only. And ellos, ellas, ustedes becomes cantan, they, them, or you guys formal sings. Once you've memorized AR verbs, it's pretty easy to remember the rest because ER verbs is the same as AR verbs except for every time you see an A, you replace it with an E. Pretty simple, huh? So instead of o, as, a, amos, an, we would have o, es, e, emos, en. Now, I don't really say this one all fast and catchy. I just remember all the AR verbs fast and catchy, and then I replace all the A's with E's to get my ER verbs. So if we take our ER verb, beber, and we take off the ER, then we would get B-E-B. And this B-E-B, that's the stem. The stem is going to be everything that comes before the ending. So then I take my stem, once I've chopped off the ER, and I add all of my endings. Bebo, I drink. Bebes, you drink. Bebe, he or she drinks. Bebemos, we drink. And beben, they drink. And that's it. Then we take our ER chart to remember our IR chart. Most of the endings are the same, except for the nosotros, and if you want to remember it, the vosotros. For the nosotros, you just replace the E with an I. So for vivir, our IR verb, we would take off the IR and we would get viv, V-I-V, and that's our stem. Then we're going to add the IR endings. Vivo, I live. Vives, you live. Vive, he or she lives. Vivimos, we live. And viven, they live. And you've seen this word in action before, like donde vives. That just means where do you live? The you is on the end of vives. It's the ES ending. And you normally respond to that question with yo vivo in ... wherever you live. Yo vivo in Texas. Vivo is the yo form because it ends in O, vivo. So in order to say who does what in Spanish, you really just need to spend some time memorizing these charts. Memorize who is in which box in Spanish and in English, and then memorize the charts for AR verbs, ER verbs, and IR verbs. I'm telling you, the faster you memorize these charts, the easier it's going to be for you. Now, I am not a Spanish native speaker. I learned Spanish, and these charts really helped me to learn who does what in Spanish. Now, do I use these charts anymore, or do I think about these charts in my head when I'm talking? Absolutely not. But they're really helpful to just familiarize your brain with the process, so that way later on, you won't even have to use them, you'll just think about it clearly. But for now, I'm telling you, it's a huge shortcut. And if you're one of those people that are, your brains are centered with math and you like a formula, well, this is a formula that you just need to follow. So get to memorizing. Hasta la próxima!